Headlines that we're tracking for you this evening, but on what's brewing today, Sun Mobility, the Bengaluru-based battery swapping pioneer, has just secured a major funding boost led by Helios Climate to roll out Africa's largest battery swapping network. Backed by investors like Indian Oil, Bosch and Vitol, the company is bringing its proven high-speed modular technology to emerging markets, starting with Africa, while continuing to scale at home. So what's next for Sun Mobility, and how will it use the funds that it's raised in the $135 million war chest? Joining me now to discuss this further is Chetan Maini, the co-founder and chairman at Sun Mobility. Chetan, thank you so much for taking time out and being here with us on Startup Street. You know, you've raised the $60 million, which totals $135 million that you've raised this year alone. How does Sun Mobility plan to allocate this capital, and what portion is earmarked specifically for its Africa expansion versus, domestic scaling?
So, India continues to be the largest micromobility market in the world. So clearly, India is our base. And through our joint venture with Indian Oil, Indo-Fast, a lot of our investment is going to further strengthen our foothold in India, where we're looking at growing in the next year around 2.5 times to where we are right now. Coupled with that, the solution today is now ready for global markets. So a portion of these investments, are going to go into Africa and Southeast Asia. We're starting with Kenya and the Philippines as these initial markets on this front. And the third part is that we see the HEV business of trucks and buses also growing significantly. And we've been doing a lot of research and development in this space, and we're going to launch solutions next year from all the way from 3 tons to 55 tons. So the investments are to help build up our capacity for manufacturing, help expand into these markets domestically and globally, and into new products like buses and trucks that we need to build a strong portfolio across swapping systems for not just domestically, but also globally.
Sure. So, take us through, Sun Mobility's current presence. What are the countries that are doing well for you? How do you also plan to scale this presence further? And like you pointed out, a lot of this money will go to scale your battery swapping network across Africa, right? So what are the kind of partnerships that will be key to this execution out there?
So in India, we're today, in 23 cities, we have around 1,000 stations. Now in Africa, we're starting with Kenya. And like we have a partnership with Indian Oil, we are also partnering with large energy companies in Africa and in Southeast Asia. We feel that these energy companies have a lot of good forecourt, have a lot of presence in these markets, and enable us to scale much quicker, with both having access to real estate as well as capital as we think through these markets. So in markets like Africa, the Bora taxis, which are these bike taxis, constitute almost 80 to 90% of all motorcycles sold in these countries. And they do over 200 kilometers a day, and swapping is an obvious choice where consumers can actually reduce their cost by 20 to 30%. And also, reduce their emissions. So it's really, a really strong market for us with the core technology that we've developed.
Sure. And like you just pointed out, you already have about 1,000+ stations across India. With over 1.4 million monthly swaps already happening out here, how critical is the Indian market as a testing ground and innovation hub for Sun Mobility's global expansion?
So all our, most of our R&D is based here. We have over 200 people in research and development. So we develop our own batteries, our stations, our BMSs. We manufacture batteries and stations in-house. All the software platform, from onboarding customers to billing to managing an entire network, is done at Sun Mobility. So we're a very strong tech platform, which we are now tweaking for these global markets, right? Payment gateways are different, certain nuances are different markets, but the core platform, the core batteries, the core stations remain the same. And the products they go into, a lot of Indian OEMs today already operate in these markets. And so we're now able to take some of these OEMs to these newer markets that we're going into, which also enables us to get more products on the platform, specifically in Africa and Southeast Asia.
Sure. And, what about revenues? What are you currently clocking? Where do you hope to end this year? Also, how are you sort of monetizing your battery swapping infrastructure across Africa and Southeast Asia? And what revenue streams are expected to drive long-term growth?
So clearly, Sun Mobility in a way sells its batteries and stations to its joint venture in India to Indofast, right? So there's a revenue stream from sale of batteries and stations, and the fact that we have a joint venture partner, which is 50/50 the IOCL, there's revenues from the swapping of batteries, which is either a pay-as-you-go model or a subscription model on this front. So these are sort of the main revenue streams. We replicate these in global geographies, but also with our local partners, there are other revenue streams like royalties for using the entire platform that come in on this front. And over a period of time, the fact that we have a lot of data, we're able to monetize the data through other areas of fleet operation, insurance, and other aspects. So this sort of is a it's a very unique area where it's an energy business with a data structure on it that allows us to have newer forms of monetization in addition to what we think of the core energy as a service business.
So what do you think makes Sun Mobility's battery swapping model a better fit for emerging markets versus, traditional EV charging infrastructures?
So, if you look at it, the cost of when you remove the battery from the vehicle, the cost of the vehicle goes down by around 40%, right? So clearly the cost of vehicle is cheaper than internal combustion engine vehicle. And people have no more concerns about refueling time, range anxiety, what happens to your battery over a period of time, how does it deteriorate? It's battery as a service. So it removes all those fears where people almost have infinite range. They take the batteries and swap it in less than a minute, and they're off and going. So this has sort of been the driver. Also, as the number of volumes increase in a city, infrastructure becomes a challenge, right? Where do you charge your vehicles, especially after you increase, 20 to 30% of adoption in a particular city? And these stations are located very conveniently. In many cities, we have them within 1 or 2 kilometers of each other. And so it really allows consumers to adopt and go electric without having any of these concerns at a much lower cost structure.
Absolutely. All right, Chetan, thank you so much for taking time out and being here with us on Startup Street. We wish you all the best on this journey going forward.
Thank you so much.